Welcome back, fam. I am almost home on my, 4-hour trek, 5-hour trek round trip from Goodyear, where I'm from and live, to Tucson, Arizona, and back again. As some of you guys know, you've been following me on Instagram, I went and picked up my brand new 2021 Honda CRF300L Rally with ABS today, and which is really nice because I'm actually about to head out on another trip, and it came 2 weeks ahead of schedule, so super pleased. These are very difficult to come by right now, and I couldn't be more happy with the way the whole process went. I think I'll do a separate video on kind of current events and how much nonsense the market is dealing with right now in terms of just purchasing things from dealerships. But what I wanted to talk today about is why I chose the Honda CRF300L Rally with ABS. So with that being the topic, I'll start with myself. I am by all means a beginning rider when it comes to two wheels. I grew up riding quads, four-wheelers, since I was 15 years old. My dad got me my first one. Actually, I think it was for Christmas. He and I got new ones. Actually, I think it was when I was 16. They were 97, so they were brand spanking new, and they were two strokes, and back in the 90s, they were all the rage. And that's where I started, actually, even prior to getting involved with Jeeps and whatnot. I mean, that was my push into off-roading, and I just loved it. I mean, I was obsessed with it, still am, and actually still now I think about it, I still have that original four-wheeler in my backyard. I'm actually storing it for my dad right now. But in terms of skill level, I have years of skill and experience on that, and I'm very much a beginner on two wheels. So if you guys have been following me on Instagram, you saw what really drew me to this market was the ADV market. Okay, and there's a little slight differences that I can talk about on a different video, but essentially you have ADV, enduro, and you have dirt bikes, and that's the two-wheel drive section. And well, not two-wheel drive, but you know what I'm saying, bikes. And when I was looking into this market, and it's kind of a niche of a niche, meaning, those guys who ride motorcycles, and then an even more niche into ADV. It really intrigued me, y'all. And what I love about it is the minimalist approach. If you've ever done any backpacking or rucking, you know that you can only have what fits in your rucksack, right? And a moto, because of space constraints, is very similar to that, with just a little bit more space if you had like panniers and some other stuff, and wore a bag and whatnot. And that really appealed to me. The other really cool part about it in terms of myself and skill set is I want to develop an experience here, because I have none. I have none in minimalistic overlanding / off-roading / ADV. So right away when I started to see these things, and I wanted to do it in a way that it wasn't a dirt bike, meaning, the bike I picked it's actually a street motor. So I'll talk about maintenance and the maintenance cycle, which is phenomenal on this 300, as opposed to, let's say, like a 450. But what I wanted is the experience, and that's why I decided, hey, I'm going to get into this, and ultimately decided on the 300L. So my skill set is a beginner. This is a beginner entry-level bike. I picked it up for around $7,000, just so you guys know. I'll throw up some stats on it later. But what's cool about this bike is it's an entry-level bike, and it's got all modern ergonomics. It's got a great range. It's got a great new motor with Honda reliability already expected from it. Maintenance is great, and it really fit all of my criteria. So like I said, maintenance was one of them. The size was one of them too. So on the high end, if you're looking at something that's a little more touring, or a GS or a BMW or something like that, those right now on the market, they're like $20,000, $25,000, depending on how you get them optioned. And I'm not going to spend that just getting into it, you know what I mean? So this one only being $7,000 out the door was the perfect price point. The Honda reliability, and then also it's kind of a unicorn right now. I mean, I've been doing some research on YouTube, and what's interesting about it is it's a little difficult to come by. So I've seen some of these YouTubers, say some really great things about this bike, and just saying, I wish that you could experience what I'm experiencing with it, but they're very hard to come by. So when I was looking at this with this bike, it is heavier for a 300, meaning it's over 300 pounds, right? And that's, somebody was talking trash online and saying, oh, that's a pig. Okay, I hear you. But when you look at the way they equipped it, from the 250 Rally, which is where this one originated from, but also based off the 450 Rally that races in Dakar, right? That, by the way, you cannot get, you have to build yourself. Straight from the factory, this thing's very well equipped. It's got 6 gears. The first 3, 1, 2, and 3 are low for those off-road, low crawl situations. The last 3 are geared tall, so that you can use it on the highway, which mine is. It's licensed and registered. And then you have an overdrive gear. So it's got 6 gears. The transmission's gone through. It's got a really nice wet clutch, which is really nice. I was playing with it when, I'm only bringing it home now. So it's kind of like my first impression too. And it just made sense. Now, the options that you get with the Rally as opposed to just the 300L variant is, the windscreen. It's got a bigger tank. It's got a little bit softer ride on the highway. And that's exactly what I wanted. Right now I have it on the back of my truck. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it there. But I also want it to be its own self-sufficient platform, as well as being able to throw it on the back of my truck like how I did today to bring it home, right? So to me, as I'm looking through these things, there are some other bikes in this segment. There are a couple KTMs, people like, they're lighter, why didn't you get that? Well, I hear you. However, none of them are real, true dual sports the way that Honda has put this one together. And not knocking KTM, other than, they're notorious for being difficult to get parts for. But, this Honda, which is more reliable than KTM, I'll say that all day, just even growing up. We all have seen that. My buddies who are mechanics always preach that. And they already have that legendary reliability. I'll put it to you this way: since this is a 300 street motor, the first break-in period is right around 500, 600 miles. So I take it in, change the oil, and then, I haven't looked through this owner's manual yet, but the 250 has something like an 8,000 mile maintenance schedule, which is phenomenal. If I'm going to be riding this thing, for long distances or, between states or out in the middle of nowhere, I don't want to be worrying about that every 500 to 1,000 mile maintenance schedule that all the other bikes, and that's probably why we don't see a 450 that's an adventure bike segment or, an ADV, because that maintenance schedule is you just can't do it, right? There are some things I have to do with the chain on this bike, but, all in all, I really feel like for me, this bike really does answer a lot of the questions and the needs that I need. For example, I'm only 5'6", I'm short. The bigger, taller bikes are a little more difficult. Yes, this one does have a 35-inch inseam, but that can be managed, and I'll learn to deal with that, either with a seat, or I wasn't even thinking about doing a lower link. But first I want to try and see if I can learn some skills and manage the height, because like I said, I am 5'6", and I actually am longer in my torso than I'm real short in my legs. So we'll see how that comes into play. But for this bike, with modern ergonomics, just from me sitting on it, I really feel comfortable already on it. So we'll see how that goes. Those are some of the reasons why I chose this bike. We'll continue to roll this stuff out. I'd like to take it from that standpoint where, hey, I am a beginner. This is something that I want to do. I think this is the best bike for my size. My weight, I'm only, I'm 150 pounds. So I did see a lot of guys kind of complaining about how soft the suspension is. I don't think I'll have that issue because I am only 150 pounds and 5'6". And then we'll see if I add, more to it in terms of bags and whatnot. So that's just my real quick thought and why I picked up this bad boy. let's put it to the test. I'm going to start getting it out here after Overland Expo's coming up, and then we'll be able to do some trips and whatnot with it. So thanks for sticking with me this long as I do this video in the truck. Appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.